I'm honored to be joined by our Congressman Brown, who has brought the Undersecretary here to Baltimore to talk about things that we can do together to enhance opportunities for young people, not only to join the armed services, but to increase their skills in STEM, to increase their ability to look at over 150 different careers. And so let me introduce the Congressman and then have our Undersecretary say a few words. And I'm also joined here by my partner, the President of City Council. Thank you for being with us, and our Police Commissioner.
Great. Well, first of all, I want to thank the Mayor and the Council President for opening your doors and allowing us, with us, Undersecretary McCarthy, to come and talk a little bit about the efforts of the United States Army in recruiting the best, the brightest, the most diverse and inclusive group of young men and women who want to serve their country, are interested in their own personal development, who can make a contribution not only while they're in uniform, but to develop the skills and the experience so that when they are no longer in uniform, whether that's after a first tour or an entire career, can continue to make a contribution in our community and in our economy. We do have a challenge as a nation to ensure that we are recruiting the best and the brightest. We have increased our recruitment goals and the size of the force. And as we fill those positions, we want to make sure that we are reaching through all four corners of this country, in our cities like Baltimore, in our suburban and our rural communities. And that's why we're here today, to speak with the elected leadership, the civic and educational leaders, to find out how we can partner to support the efforts here in the city as they're developing young talent, and how that and the synergies with our efforts to make sure we have the best and the brightest who are interested and willing and ready to serve in our nation's military. So with that, let me turn it over to my good friend, a great public servant, and that's the Undersecretary of the Army, McCarthy. Thank you, sir. Mm-hmm.
Before I begin, make some remarks. Congressman Brown, time and again, has been one of our strongest supporters in the Congress. A former Army officer himself, decorated in combat, he knows what it takes to develop young men and women in the service, and an outstanding public servant, obviously, in his own right. But can't emphasize that enough, and this whole meeting today came together because of my, again and again, reaching out for help. And he reached out to Mayor Pugh, who immediately took our call, and we just had a wonderful conversation with her and all the leaders, civic leaders here in the city of Baltimore, about how do we do better of communicating with each other and working together to talk about potential service in the U.S. Army, and what are the opportunities that exist, from the vast number of career fields to tuition assistance and benefits, and learning the values of this wonderful institution we call the U.S. Army. So a great conversation to help forge strengthen our partnership, and to be able to get more exposure to young men and women here in this great city of Baltimore. And so over time, we'll continue to flourish, but wonderful conversation that we had today, and we have a lot of next steps on how we'll proceed together.
A lot of great takeaways today. We took away one, that we're going to develop a relationship with our community college, because we've made Baltimore City Community College free, and to develop an MOU with both Coppin State University, and of course we already have an ROTC program at Morgan State University, but to have an MOU there. We also talked about connecting our rec centers to some of the STEM training and programs and all of the other avenues that are available. Thank you for providing that information for us, and we're going to be right on top of it. We also talked about connecting our school system to some of the available programs that are already there for our school system to take advantage of. Could be in almost every single school system in the city. It's a matter of us taking advantage of those opportunities. And we also talked about how we make sure that our young people understand there are 150 some odd careers, but it really is, oops, who does that? That's it, me. Talked about how our young people need to know some of the other careers and the opportunities that are available, and that they should also make sure that they understand that there are things that they must do as young people. We're talking about from the elementary school on up. our comptroller, and I know that my president city council, we recall when we were safety patrols in our schools. But that meant that we had to make sure that we were healthy. We got to make sure you stay away from drug use if you're talking about serving in our armed forces. And so we want to make sure that we're touching our young people at their earliest age. Our police department, there was conversation around the former PAL program, but how can we do some of the things that we've done through the PAL program, through our rec centers, to make sure, again, that our young people understand these careers that are available to them. And so we are partnering with our organization, our armed forces, to say that we're going to be hand in hand, lockstep, moving our city forward, but making sure that our young people, even through our career opportunities, because we established last year, we established the first recruitment program from the high schools. And so we know that there are junior ROTC programs that we can expand, but we also know that there's opportunities for young people to serve in our armed forces. $40,000, you all, in scholarships that are available to these young people. So, you know, they can go on to become the best and the brightest. The opportunities are there. And with our partnership with our armed forces and what our congressman has brought with us and the undersecretary just informing us of things that are going on. And there are people like, who's been here who understands how we make those connections. And so, again, grateful for the participation, but more importantly, for the future. Okay? Anybody? Thank you. Thank you all.